Hey, thanks for clicking the link. My name's Ben and I'm building a game in Unity. This is my 21st, I believe, devlog. And today I'm going to go through some changes that I've made, show you the new intro that I've been working on, and probably start to explain some of the stuff I've done to help with performance. I'm going to see if I can remember what I've done and, hope that it cements my learnings along the way. But as always, we're going to start with a little beer, and I've got a Brewdog versus Mikkeller today. I've had one of these. It's all right actually. I was a bit reluctant to try it because the last Mikkeller I had, I thought it tasted like tuna fish oil. Wasn't very nice. But this actually turns out to be quite a nice beer. Blah blah blah. So yeah, cheers. Let's get on with the show. Loads of things have happened since the last devlog, to be honest. I can't remember what I last spoke about. My second monitor's gone, so it's all a bit awkward. I can't see what I'm recording. I'm hoping this is all works out fine. So I think what I'm just going to do is go through it all, basically. And the first thing I've been doing is working on the intro, which sets the scene for the game, and it might actually become the promo or part of the promo video as well. I'm just going to play it actually. You can watch it first for real. This is the first time I've demoed it live, I guess. It's a little bit frustrating. I've actually got a voiceover, but I didn't pay for the commercial license, so I can't actually play the audio, which is a little bit frustrating. Which reminds me, actually, I should turn that off. Better to be safe than sorry. But yeah, there's audio over the top of this. There's narrative. So maybe I'll have to fill the space for now. But just imagine a sort of cinematic style voice, quite low toned, heavy. Yeah, it's cool. But anyway, let me kick off. This is going to be the intro that the player sees when they start a new game. Oh, and the rain looks rubbish. Ignore the rain at the moment. I'm working on the rain. That transition needs to be a bit smoother. That's the rain getting in the way. That shouldn't be there. I'll sort that out. The music. This is from Dale Chambers, mate of mine. I've been testing out a few of his tracks for this particular scene. I'm not sure it's going to stay. Right now we'd have the voiceover talking as well, sort of setting the scene. But obviously, as you can see, everything's flooded. The lightning shouldn't be coming through the ocean like it is at the moment. Again, that's something I'll sort out. This is very much what I've been working on this for the last day, really. So it's still very early. Smoke shouldn't be there. Audio levels are all wrong. You know, the rain's too loud, the music's too quiet. Lots of little fishies though. There's Jeffrey. He's my favourite fish. He always says hello in this scene. So those of you that are familiar to the game and have been following my progress, you'll notice in a minute that we're at essentially where the player starts on the island. Although it doesn't look it at the moment because it's very, very dark. There we go. There's the boat and the island. So at this point, the rain, it's all the flood is going to come down out of the way, and we start the story. So the beginning of the story is the end of the story, if that makes sense. The beginning of what you've just seen is the end of the game, part of the end of the game, and we start at the beginning and work out the events that happen to cause this flood. So yeah, if that wasn't clear, basically you pan through one of the motherships. Big storm going on. Obviously, everything's underwater now. You drop into the water. You can see the island that you're about to explore. The voiceover's talking about the story that you're about to take on. And then, just as we come in to land, the flood sort of reverses. It all reverses as if like you're rewinding the cassette, and you're back at the beginning. Excuse me. Yeah, so it's coming on well. I'm having to learn how to animate the camera, which is kind of cool, if not a little bit finicky. It'd be nice if you could add audio into the timeline and trigger certain events. You can do certain events in the timeline, but it's I don't know. I'm not finding it that intuitive, to be honest. And oh yeah, one thing I'm trying to do is keep it all in the game, rendered in real time. I'm trying to avoid loading loading scenes and taking the player out. So I kind of like this idea of you're watching the intro. It's got that sort of cinematic movie feel to it, and then actually you just take over and you're in the game. It's by coincidence, to be honest, rather than design, that the whole game is one giant scene. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. Probably something I should look at when I start my next Unity game. But everything is happening in one scene at the moment, which could be part of the reason I'm having problems, or have had problems with performance. Yeah, so that's the intro. Let me just get rid of it for now. And this is how I'm kind of managing the scenes as well. There's events that turn the scenes on and off, and everything related to that scene is within that game object. It seems pretty simple. Pretty simple solution to me. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's get the player back and zoom in to where the player is. Boom. Something doesn't look right. Oh yeah, the C's gone, isn't it? Let's bring that back. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, essentially where that intro finished is where you'll start like this. Nice bright sunny day. All that doom and gloom has gone, and you're free to explore the island. So actually, on that note, let's do that. Because I've been playing around with... Make sure this works. Yeah, where's the ocean gone? I'll turn that on. Yeah, I've been playing around with like the save load state system. That wasn't working very well. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I've done. I started playing with the music again. So previously, the music was on all the time, very slow and lethargic, and just in the background. But actually, once I started adding more sound effects to the game, I created these really nice soundscapes, and I thought, I don't know if you can hear that. You can hear the ocean, the birds tweeting, and as you move around, different birds come into play. Oh, my water's gone. Yeah, and I thought, well, actually, maybe I should use the music more to emphasise different events going on in the game. So I got rid of the wandering music for now and moved it up to one of the trigger points, which is when the story kicks in. Up here somewhere. Oh, it's not going to... Oh, disabled so much that it's not there even. But yeah, now when you first reveal the second part of the story, actually, the music starts to play up again in the background, which is quite nice, and then it fades out and you're left back with the sounds of the environment. Stats. So this area is a bit of a stress test. I've got shitloads of grass moving. So 23 frames per second isn't great. 20 frames per second isn't good at all. But there you go, back up to 35, 36. So just certain areas. I'm going to let it slip for now. I want to move on with rebuilding the visuals, the environment. But it's taken a while to get to this point, and I wanted to go through some of the things that I learned along the way there. But oh, one thing you may not be able to see is on the grass, it gets squashed as you walk over it. I think I've demoed that before, actually. Yeah, it's pretty hard to tell, actually. On the bigger fields with the higher grass, it's more obvious, which is going to be nice for the abduction scene. Because there'll be a crop circle, and you can run over the field and see where you run. So, performance. First of all, this is my specs. 32 gig of RAM, GTX 1060 graphics card, and a Ryzen 5. I'm seeing this as entry level gaming PC. The graphics card is the most popular one, or it was on Steam a couple of weeks ago, GTX 1060. So I figured if I can get it to run at least 30 frames on this, then that's my target audience hit for this version, the HDR version. But I still needed to do some improvements to get that FPS up. One of the things I did was buy a asset called Nature something. Nature Renderer. That was it. And I think what this dude's done is actually make the occlusion. I can never pronounce that word. Occlusion system better. So you have to convert all your assets to the Nature Renderer system, which is fine. Just right click, create a new asset. Then you can control the wind and the transparency and all other matter of properties for your grass. Specifically grass, it doesn't do trees. Trees are still managed by Unity, but Nature Renderer takes over the grass rendering, which also gives me the option to start painting with grass like you could do. For some reason with HDRP they don't advise you to paint grass using the paint details. Everything has to be a tree, which is why when you look in my tree details, I've got so much, not just trees, but grass, rocks, all kinds of stuff. I've taken the rocks out, actually. But, for some reason they stopped or suggested that you don't use this. I think probably because the way trees handle light is more realistic. This is just a guess here. Because trees are bigger, you probably need them to look a bit more realistic. Whereas the grass, a lot of the time, it's not as so much of a main feature. But with Nature Renderer, you actually have to use this system, and he basically says just ignore any errors and paint away, which is awesome. And his occlusion system, I'm going to call it occlusion. It's like Unity's, but for grass. So that I think that's how you get the performance back. So one thing I did, obviously was buy this asset, and it was worth it just for the grass alone. The other things I started looking into, what did I do? I did look at the occlusion, tinkered with the bake settings for that, so that's now it's good. Basically, for those who don't know how it works, it only renders what the camera can see. Renders still quite a lot of trees in the background there, so are you really going to see that? Is the camera going to see that? Especially when you've got this height. So I think I still need to play with that. I also need to get rid of the ocean. And for the love of God, I don't... Oh, maybe it is working. Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, it is sort of working. But it wasn't obvious to me that was actually doing the job. Because if it pan out, you can still... No, it's not. All this is being rendered when it doesn't need to be. You can see the frame, the white box is the camera frame, so anything in that white box is being rendered. Yeah, I need to do some more work on it, but this has helped. Also, I found out sometimes when you're you've been editing terrain like that. Not sure what's going on there. Sometimes when you've been editing terrain and you start walking around the environment, it starts to flicker. And I had this before actually. I was digging some tunnels over here. Couldn't work out for the life of me why it all started to flicker. In the distance, I could see items moving around and flickering, and it was because you need to rebake. Basically, every time you change the terrain, you need to rebake all that scene again, so the camera knows where everything is and can do its occlusion. Have a drink. So definitely have a play of that. Now the next thing I'm going to show you, if I can get to it, is in here. Now, I think from day one I just set everything like this. I was like, whack, oh right to the top. I can't move it because nature renderer takes over the detail distance. You know, tree distance was set up to 5,000 meters. Billboard start. I think I had that right down. Everything basically as high as it could be when it really didn't need to be. And again, that made a massive difference on the FPS. Just bringing these down, making them more realistic. So something you want to look at. And again, you can get more detail of your hobby mouse over this stuff to find out what it's actually doing. So the distance from the camera beyond which details will be killed. Another one. Yeah. Have a play with tree and detail objects because that does have an impact. Turned off reflection probes, cast shadows on. They're still there, but I had them on two sides, so it was doing stuff underneath and it didn't need to be. I think that was something I did from here. I was playing around with my post-processing, which is all in here. My volumes, my sky, fog, and directional lights. The only thing that really made any difference was the shadows, I found. I could switch most of this on and off and it would have minimal impact on the FPS. So for me, it was just turning down the shadow detail. That helped. And yeah, that was it for there. I feel like I did something with the player, but I can't remember what. It wouldn't have been the player, it would have been the camera actually. No, maybe not. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let me just grab something quickly, because this is something else I've been doing as well. I should have done this ages ago. I seem to be using Grammarly a lot now for lists and stuff. But yeah, it could come out of a gotchas list, because I keep falling into the same traps and thinking, how did I solve that? Things like having a blank circle around the camera, which really is frustrating. All of a sudden you get this big sphere around your camera, casting shadows or just blacking out everything. And the only fix I could find was actually just deleting the direct light and then creating the direct light again and applying all the same settings. So it's a little bit frustrating because you just copy, take a screenshot of all this and then re-enter it in to get it back. But it did fix it. Flickering terrains we've talked about. Oh yeah, items moving around. This was another thing I found as well. Caught me out once or twice. I had rocks. Let's zoom in on a rock. Yeah. Why are they not highlighting? Yeah, so the rock would you in the back, as you move towards it, go like this. I think, well, why is it up there? I think it shouldn't be there. It should be here. Turned out I need to find one with a level of detail. One with this. This is a good rock. This is more like it. Is it? Yeah. Basically, I must have at one point selected one of the level of details. Which is an interesting concept, actually. Level of details should probably, because that's something I've been playing around with, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I must have knocked the scale, the position. Sorry. That's not what I want. like that. So as it's sort of got into, it's not a very good demo, is it? Basically, as the camera was getting closer, it was moving because the level of detail precision was somehow knocked out, I think. So just resetting that, the rocks over there for some reason. I don't know what's going on today. Everything's going wrong. So level of detail. That was the third thing. I've got to do a lot more work on this because I've got shed loads of rocks, for example. Rocks and stones. But now I've just batched them up into a game object. But level of detail works like this. When you're building a 3D object, or you buy an asset pack like I do because I don't make the objects, you can export 3 different versions of the same thing, each one with less detail. So your first one's going to be super high resolution, second one not so high res, and the third one low res. And then what you can do is up here is you can say to the camera, well, when you're sort of this distance, don't bother about loading the full res thing because you won't even be able to see it. So do the lower res one, and then when you go even further away, do the even less resolution. And when you're even further away, just get rid of it altogether. Don't show it. So you only load the detail as the camera gets closer to the object. Again, I'll notice slight performance improvements by doing that, and I think I just need to go through and do more. Well, as I say, I've got a lot of objects with lots of level of details. That's pretty much it for performance. I think getting ready for the demo now. The intro needs some more work, obviously, as you've seen. The island pretty much needs... I need to just clear off all the grass and bring them into this nature renderer asset and start redrawing again, and just keeping an eye on the FPS as I go along to make sure it's not dropping. And yeah, demo. Need to get the story. The story's clear, I guess. The script is written, but I keep changing the script, and because it's just like a process, isn't it? I don't have the whole story clearly defined in my head yet. So every time I write it, I play the game a few times and I look at it and go, oh, that doesn't make sense, or that doesn't read right. So I have to keep rewriting it. I want to get it right before I pay for the voiceover. And the voiceover, and now I've changed my mind. Originally, the voiceover was going to be you as the player, but now it's going to be this narrator, this storyteller, which gives me the option to find a nice voiceover. I was thinking someone like Dame Judi Dench, actually. I think her voice would be quite cool as as someone telling the story. But yeah, the sort of tone I want to set with the storyteller is like they're telling a story as if they're at a campsite, and the fire's going, and they're telling some kids a scary story. So it's quite important to try and find someone who's got a voice that's got a lot of tonal range, not like my voice. My voice is dead, it's dull. But someone who can do all that expression, knows when to pause, and it's not easy. But the guy I found the other day who did the trailer voice, that's really good. Really happy with that. I think I might stick with him, but I just need to pay for the license, the commercial license. So that's it. That is it. More details to come. Details in the game. Tidy up the story. Get the save load state working properly. I just need to test that again. Been working on, there's lots more sound effects now, so the abduction scene's a lot more interesting. Coming together. Also, what month is it? It's September now, isn't it? So I started this in November last year, and I feel like I need to do something to celebrate the year, the anniversary. It's come on a long way. When I think, this time November last year, I just had a box in a field. I had no idea what pipelines were about, performance. I had no idea how to animate cameras. Yeah, I've learned so much in a short period of time. I feel like I should actually take a step back and just celebrate that somehow. Not sure how though. Yeah, I mean that's LOD to the extreme. And also, I'm not a fan of these textures. They're pretty blurry, aren't they? Need to be sharper. I think this is the other thing I've learned as well. I've probably spent so much money on assets. I don't want to actually know how much I've spent on assets. It's enabled me to move quickly and, you know, get to this point, which is awesome. But I think knowing what I know now, I would have spent a lot more time making sure I get the right assets. Also, it's really annoying with Unity Asset Store because you can't demo anything. You can't unless like the developer actually puts a demo in for you to try, which actually Nature Renderer did, and that's why I bought it, because I could actually see it in the game. I was like, this has a positive impact. But most of the time, I've bought so many assets that are just not what they promised to be, or they're not compatible, which is my fault. I should, you know, now I know what I'm looking for. I make sure that they are compatible. Yeah, I think going forward, obviously I've got ideas for a second game, and I'm kind of looking forward to that refresh. You know, start again, start fresh with all the learnings. So that's it for this week. Hopefully, the next time we meet, I'll have my second monitor so I can actually see what I'm recording. Until then, thanks for watching, and yeah, peace.